Thanks for joining us here on FSU Weather. I'm Casey Cloud.
I'm student meteorologist Matthew Reagan. We've been facing a lot of stormy weather around the area lately, haven't we?
Absolutely. We even seen some severe weather warnings across the area and just outside of the area today. One warning in our area was for the city of Perry and toward Taylor County. Not any damage reported, but there was the potential of 60-mile-an-hour winds in that area.
That's right, and all of this stormy weather is going to be giving way to some cool weather that we have coming in, the first real big cool blast of this fall season.
Yeah, very cool conditions making their way in toward our area. We're not going to get too cool tonight, expecting lower 60s, but tomorrow night, jacket weather for the first time this fall semester, expecting temperatures as low as in the mid-40s across the Big Bend region and southwest Georgia as well.
Yes, I'm really excited for that. I'm definitely ready to get out my winter gear for the first time since last winter here when we had that brutal winter.
Yeah, really cool temperatures, especially in January last year, talking about temperatures in the teens even across the Big Bend region. Luckily not getting that cool yet, but still below average for this time of year. Very cool temperatures.
Yes, I'm very excited, and it certainly is going to be a great day for a football game tomorrow. It's going to be dry conditions, and it's definitely going to be a lot of fun out there.
That's right, really nice conditions. I mean, football-type weather, really. Just great conditions here across our Big Bend region. Comfortable, but right now we'll go ahead and take it over to the overview of the show with Shane.
Thanks, guys. Temperatures sure are about to get a lot cooler, and the reason why is tied exactly to why we saw so much rain today. Here's the satellite for this day, and we see all that rain come through our region band after band, and it's all associated with, if we take a look at the wider picture, this cold front that stretches across the whole country, and it's dividing a lot of moist air in front of it from the dry air behind it, and that dry air is also very cool air. So you're going to see numbers later in the show that may surprise you a little bit. We're going to be seeing chilly conditions over the weekend, but for the headlines for tonight, the rain will be clearing out. Most of it is already out of our hair, so we're going to have a beautiful game day tomorrow and a chilly start on Sunday. Stay tuned for the exact numbers. And as for the low tonight, well, you'll have to stick around to find out exactly what it is, but it's going to remain mostly cloudy with the rain getting out of here before the clock turns over to Saturday. Let's hand it back to you guys at the desk for another story.
That's right. We have a really interesting story right now. We have this image taken from the MODIS satellite, or the Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer, or MODIS, if you want to call it that for short. This does show, the image shows the Saharan dust coming off of Africa. And this image is usually used a lot for tropical meteorology. When the Saharan dust gets pushed offshore, it tends to impede development a little bit.
That's right, that sure does. That dust can cause the storms not to be able to get and tropical systems to be able to get development and really build their tops to be able to get more intense and get energy from the atmosphere. Also, the satellites like these help us with tracking storms on really systems in the Pacific Ocean as well, moving toward the west coast of the U.S. and ultimately sometimes across the U.S. and impacting our weather. But right now, we'll go ahead and take it over to the first local forecast with Kristen.
Thanks, guys. We're looking at conditions right now. We got some 76, some light rain in the area, still lingering, but for the most part, most of the rain for now has gone and made its way out to the east. Dew point still very high, meaning we have a lot of moisture in the air. 74 degrees right now, and you see that moisture, 94 degrees, or 94%, sorry, so humidity way up there as we still have a lot of moisture on the atmosphere. Right now, look at current temperatures around the area, 75 in St. Mark, 76 in Tallahassee, and 79 in Quincy. So a lot of temperatures ranging in the 70s. We even had some low 80s out in Bainbridge and Mariana. But for the most part, we have some mid 70s out in the current temperature. Winds coming from the Gulf in St. Mark's 2 miles an hour, Apalachicola 8 miles an hour, and Carabel 4 miles an hour. So we have winds generally, for the most part, coming in from the Gulf, from the south. Right now, looking at the water vapor, a lot of this dryness until that vapor, that green color that you see, that moisture in the air, that's going to come whizzing by. But before we get into some more white and grays, which is that dryness, not too dry, but still, you know, still drier than that green. That green is where we really get that moisture coming into the air. Radar right now, we see that rain that just came through and really put a damper on our day for most of the part. But it has cleared out for the most part, headed out towards the east. We had some rain, though, coming in through the area. And that's shown here, that satellite. Look at that front stretching all the way from the Gulf all the way up into Wilmington, North Carolina. It just really brought rain all across the southeast, even into our area. And right now, going into little South Florida, we do have some rain headed into Orlando right now. That should be later though. So here's what I was talking about that front. And usually fronts, key benchmark right there, winds coming from the northwest. That's where your front's going to be. And then as they come around, you're going to have winds ahead of the front from the southeast going towards northeast. So that's always a benchmark to look at with your cold fronts. And as you see, as that cold front comes rolling in, temperatures will start getting a little colder until the blues start coming in. You know, blue usually means cold. Going into the beach, it's going to be a cold day to go out in the water, 60 degrees, a little too cold, too chilly for me, but the UV won't be astronomical, but it's always a good idea to wear that SPF when you're out on the beach. Surf 1 to 2 feet. Tonight's forecast, 65 degrees. The rain, again, should be out by midnight, but there's still a 60% chance. And for game day, we do have 73 by noon and 77 by that kickoff. Looking at the week ahead, 77, 80 by midweek, but that weekend is going to be beautiful. And as we zoom out into the southeast, let's kick it out to Tawana.
Thanks, Christian. You can see it's still very warm across the southeast. Summer's holding on for one more day. Currently in Tallahassee, we're sitting at 77 degrees. A bit cloudy, some patches of sky that you can see, but mostly clouds out there. 86 in Orlando. And Miami's experiencing some storms, and they're sitting at 79 degrees, so still relatively warm. Now, the big story that we have to talk about is the cold front that is heading our way. All these greens that you see right here are the moisture associated with that front and directly in front of that front. Now, the oranges behind it, that's the dry air. So that's what's coming once that front rolls on by. So front is all the rain, and some of it moved through earlier today, and there's still a chance of some strong storms tonight. But most of it will be gone by the time it reaches 12 o'clock, and it'll be absolutely gorgeous around our area. So radar and warnings after the rain has gone through, not much to deal with warnings so far, but we will keep an eye out and tell you if anything serious does pop up and changes throughout the night. So overnight, there will be storms. All these greens, the moisture and the rain associated with the front. And as the front moves throughout tonight, we'll get the rain, and then by Saturday morning, clear. So if you want to go tailgate, perfect. The sun will be out. It'll be gorgeous. Then tomorrow night, around game time, it'll be cooler, so grab that jacket. You will need it. As soon as those winds start blowing and people start moving after the game, it's going to be a bit cold, so you don't want to be shivering as you go out. So for tonight, relatively cold, well, cooler in our area. 65 will be our low here in Tallahassee. 50 in Montgomery, where the front has already passed. 43 in Tupelo, 45 in Little Rock. So you can see the line where the front has been. So cooler behind it and a little bit warmer out ahead of it. Orlando will be at 76 degrees for their low tonight. For tomorrow, more like fall. 77 will be the high. Orlando will be sitting at 85, and Miami and Key West will be getting the storms that we're getting tonight. So relatively cooler conditions once that front goes by, so it's something for us to all look forward to. But Casey and Matt, what do you have to say?
Thanks so much, Tawana. We're going ahead and talk about a little bit of weather history, a major event. Talking about Hurricane Opal, in fact, that made landfall in 1995. That's 19 years ago tomorrow.
Yes, this was a pretty devastating storm for the western panhandle area with winds about 115 miles an hour. And so it definitely caused a lot of damage in the panhandle.
Yeah, a Category 3 hurricane, major hurricane. In fact, 9 fatalities were reported from this storm. That was mainly due to rainfall, significant rainfall amounts from this storm. But also, an F2 tornado occurred in Crestview, and 1 person died from that as well. Very tragic situation.
Another one of the big factors in this storm was the storm surge, which is about 10 to 15 feet in some areas. So that was a very devastating blow to a lot of the coastal Pensacola area houses, and a lot of that region over there. But for now, let's take a look at national. What do you got for us, Casey?
That's right. We're going to head and take a look at the national picture. No hurricanes to be tracking across the nation. At this point, tropics have been very quiet, but talking about current temperatures right now, we do see mid-40s in toward Minneapolis at this hour. We're talking about also temperature a little bit warmer as we get in toward Dallas, talking about temperatures upper 70s as well across that region. Now here at home, we're seeing 77, but we're going to cool down here as we get into the weekend. We're going to see very cool conditions as well. Now, we're gonna go ahead and kind of take a look a little bit more now at the national picture. We see around, as we see even Billings, they're a little bit cool, 58 degrees in toward that area. Now, water vapor does show that there is a lot of moisture in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We do see that there's quite a bit of moisture. That's in that green color. I'll kind of move away just a little bit here. And we do see that there is quite a bit of that moisture, that green, extending toward our area, meaning some heavy rain is occurring toward some of these areas, moisture in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And toward that orange area, we do have some dry air, and that's nicer conditions, cooler conditions as well, moving in toward our area. Real nice weather as we get into this weekend, though it will be a little on the cool side, and you might want to bring a jacket. Radar showing that, and satellite as well, that there is some cloud cover with some rain that's made its way through our area. It was a rainy day today. Even some severe warnings, as I was mentioning earlier. Taylor County was under a thunderstorm warning. We had some gusty winds, 40 to 50 miles an hour here across the Big Bend region and towards some areas, but not too much significant reports of anything occurring in terms of damage. Now, kind of writing the view out and toward what happened as we got into yesterday, there was a significant system that made it across the country. That cool front had a lot of storms that it caused, and associated with that, we do see that there were a bunch of warnings talking about Little Rock getting into a bunch of severe thunderstorm and even some tornado warnings as well. Also around Dallas, Texas, severe weather as well in toward those areas. There was even a thunderstorm watch, thunderstorm warnings, damage reports. Now that system and the warnings associated with it kind of dwindled down a little bit as it made it in toward our area, though. This is kind of what's left of it. We do see some showered making their way into northeast Florida. There was a warning earlier in toward Dallas. There's also some rain up toward the northern part of the country. Airport delays, not too much of a factor. We do have a 38-minute delay in Atlanta, so a little bit of a delay, again, not too much. So most of the country pretty much delay free. Now tonight we do see 65 degrees, much cooler temperatures. The first real cold time of the year. Nice conditions making their way down toward the southeast. 77 tomorrow. Temperature will be cooling down even a little bit more as we get into Saturday night. Very cool conditions as well. But right now we'll go ahead and take it over to that second local forecast with Matthew.
All right, Casey. Today looked really kind of just gloomy outside. We saw a lot of rain in the area. I got soaked walking to class. Even though I did have a rain jacket and an umbrella, it was still really coming down out there from that cold front pushing through the area. So today we saw a high of 89 degrees and a low of 60 this morning, which was about average for this time of year, as well as really a far cry from the records that we saw in years past. But the big story of the day is that cold front pushing through. Current temperatures as you're walking outside today, it's 77 checking in Tallahassee, Quincy 79, Bainbridge is the warm spot at 81. So across the board, we're not really seeing too much of the effects from that cold front yet, but we will be seeing that here in a few short hours. Satellite and radar, this is what it looked like going throughout the day. We saw that cold front really pushing in here with the clouds and it really getting gloomy out, and then the rain started pushing through as well, depicted here, as a lot of you already know if you got wet on the way to class today. Here's our future cast. The cold front sitting right about here, just approaching the Florida panhandle right now. So we're not really seeing that cool weather yet. It's still very muggy, and we may see a couple of spotty showers overnight. Setting this into motion, we start to see through the evening hours the cold front pushing through and out of the area. The time, 8 a.m. tomorrow, and that is game day, which we'll be talking about more later on in the show. But first, it's clearing out, sun all day. It's going to be beautiful. And then once we push on into the afternoon hours in towards game time tomorrow, it'll be even cooler, which I'm very excited about once again. And now we're checking out, pushing it even further out. The cooler temperatures are going to be sticking around, as well as the dry conditions with really nothing in the way of rain. The beach forecast looks like this: 10 to 15 knot winds, surf 1 to 2. The water temperature looks fairly warm, but that's going to be decreasing here very soon because of the passing of the cold front. UV index chop in the area, which it'll be a nice boating day for sure because it'll be clear. And tonight's forecast looks like this: 65 degrees, so it'll be still storms hanging around, but we'll be checking out more of that forecast later on. But first we have to talk about, we've got a storm over in the Pacific Ocean, Fan Phone, I believe. So let's send it back to the desk.
You are right. We do have a Category 3 hurricane in the Pacific Ocean heading towards Tokyo right now as we speak. So.
It actually started as a Category 1. It jumped to Category 4 in 12 hours, really strengthening up in a rapid amount of time.
Yeah, it sure did. So that could just tell you that those waters in the Pacific are quite warm for a hurricane to jump in 12 hours from a Cat 1 to a Cat 4, but it did downgrade since then to a Cat 3. So it is on its way to Japan, and the main worry to them is the amount of rain.
The rain. They're expecting 4 to 8 inches in that coastal region of Japan. That includes the metropolis of Japan. So they should expect to see a lot of rain, possible flooding. Another big story was that it's going to hit a major landmark.
Yes, that's right. But we're going to talk about around Florida with Ian instead of the Pacific.
Thank you, guys. We are going to be talking about Florida. We had quite an interesting day, really starting to see the effects of fall sitting in with our first real cold front coming through as the day goes on. See, winds right now showing down in Tampa, you had winds out of the west at 12, winds 14 miles per hour, so pretty gusty day for the most part. Winds are starting to calm down near us, about 7 miles per hour, but for the most part, it is going to be a windy day tonight into tomorrow as those winds are going to be shifting out of the northwest as the cold front makes its way on through. Now, the rainfall since midnight wasn't tremendous for us here. We had 0.08 inches, so nothing too high. But down in the west, Pensacola, 0.77 inches. So they saw a good amount of rain there. You see a lot of rain north of that. But for the most part, Florida is ahead of the front right now. It's dry, but that will soon change as those storms associated with the cold front move on through. So for the most part, good amount of rain coming through. But this is the big story. You can see here all this green, all this plush green, it's all the moisture. This is what is associated with the front of a cold front. This is what comes through. You have a good amount of rain, followed by a bunch of dry air. So the green is sitting in front of the cold front, but behind it over here, you can see over in the corner of the screen, a lot of that orange. That's all that dry air. So this isn't a normal thing to see that clear of the line. It only is associated with a cold front. So dry line, or a very dry air is behind this cold front and will be making its way through tonight into our area, but much of Florida will be seeing a good amount of rain for the most part. So here's the satellite and radar. You can see this is the cold front right here, all of that, all the clouds associated with it in front, and there's that line right behind it with all that dry air behind it. So we got through all that rain today, but for most of Florida is seeing a good amount of rain as this cold front makes its way on through the area and moving towards the east. But behind that cold front, dry air and much cooler conditions. This is going to be a cool cold front, really the first big cold front for this season. Very seasonal temperatures are ahead. Currently right now, temperatures ahead of that cold front were warm. I'm sure here in Tallahassee you guys felt those muggy temperatures, 86 degrees in Orlando, 86 in Tampa. Back here we have 77 in Tallahassee, and to our west, clear skies, 81 degrees. So those temperatures are definitely a good sign of a cold front moving through as we see a lot of warm, moist air in front of it and the drier, cooler air behind. Current dew points show that mugginess, we're yet again 74 degrees with ahead of that, above 70s, usually that very muggy, moist feeling temperatures outside. Radar shows good amount of rain ahead of that front as it pushes on through with the dry air behind it. And moving on into South Florida, you can see a lot of some flare-up storms there. And as we move on back, much more of the storms behind this front. But these will be clearing out as the day goes on. Tonight's forecast shows temperatures will be in the 60s, moving on into the 50s tomorrow, but we'll be getting into that later. And for tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be a warm day, but we're going to be sending it back to John Bellis with about Florida, right?
Absolutely, and there's a lot of change happening across much of the southeast. Much of the southeast is 5 to 10 degrees cooler than it was this time yesterday. Right now, it's just because of the clouds that are hanging through the area here in Tallahassee and in Valdosta. Valdosta is starting to get in on that rain, and this is going to continue to push off towards the east. It's not until Sunday morning where we actually start to see the cooler temperatures because of the actual cool air behind the cool front. 77 degrees here right now in Tallahassee, 81 degrees where they've started to get into a little bit of sunshine across the western panhandle. Again, those temperatures are going to start to fall as the cool front and the clouds head off towards the south and east. Here's that rain that I talked about moving through the eastern Big Bend. Most of that rain has pushed out of our area right now, causing a little bit of stronger storms down towards the Crystal River area, up towards Gainesville and over towards Jacksonville and pushing out into the Atlantic. This whole system will be down in central and south Florida as we head into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. And the cooler temperatures will be reaching us about that time as these clouds that are lingering back towards Alabama and Mississippi finally break across our area and really allow that heat to escape up into space for Saturday night into Sunday morning. Here's what it's looking like on the water vapor. This is up at 30 to 40,000 feet. The moisture you can see is starting to thin out across most of the atmosphere, but back off towards the west, there's lots of dry air back towards Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and this is going to all swoop off towards the east and down towards the south into the Gulf of Mexico, pushing all of that moist air down towards the south over the next 24 to 48 hours. And because of that, there have been some they're expecting a lot of dry air in Alabama and especially off towards the north and west where those humidity levels are going to be dropping down below 35 to 40%. So possibility of a little bit of fire activity off towards the north and west. Not expecting that here, but we do expect the temperatures to drop. Tonight, not so much, 65 degrees. It's going to be somewhat of a mild night tonight because of the cloud cover, but tomorrow we're going to start off tonight at 76 and then heading back down. This is one of our model depictions for tonight. We're looking at 57 degrees in Valdosta tonight, a little bit warmer in the low to mid 60s across the Big Bend area. Temperatures up towards the north, you can see the greens and blues there, that's 40s and 30s up towards the north, and this cooler air is going to push down towards our south. Tomorrow afternoon, 70 degrees in Valdosta. The game is going to be fantastic. Those clouds should be gone out of the area, except for maybe down towards Taylor County and down towards the south. That warm rebuilding off towards the west, that's going to be kept off towards the west for now. What's going to be very interesting is this model depiction is bringing in temperatures in the low 40s on Sunday morning. I think it's going to be a little bit warmer than that here in Tallahassee and across much of the Big Bend, but we may want to keep that in mind if you're heading out on Sunday morning for church or any other of those activities. Are there any activities around the area for tomorrow, though?
Yeah, well, there's a snowfall that could potentially be happening up north, believe it or not, John. Snowflakes could potentially be falling out. Temperatures will be getting cold enough to the states like Michigan, Minnesota, and even into Wisconsin.
Yeah, they sure are. And what the cool thing about this is it's the first amount of snow falling this autumn so far. So it's only I believe it's just a week into fall and we're already experiencing snow.
It's incredible. So northeastern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin could be seeing some snowfall later this weekend. But right now, let's send it out to Ian, who can tell us about more local stuff from Florida. Oh, wait.
Actually, we're going to take it to Melanie for the last local, and thankfully we're not going to be seeing any snow in our area, but today we did see that rain. Today we're currently sitting at 77, and it's very cloudy outside. We're seeing all the clouds, all the moisture, but that's going to be clearing out, and we're going to be looking at a beautiful weekend. But taking a look around the Big Bend, it's 77 in Quincy, 78 in Wilma, 81 up in Bainbridge. So the main story here is the high 70s and the low 80s. 80s, but that is quickly going to be changing. And since we were still relatively muggy, our current heat index is 82. Now the heat index, basically, it's how you feel how it feels to you when you step outside. So since our air is still muggy, the humidity is still kind of high, so that's why there's such a big difference between the index and the current temperatures. But taking a look at our radar, this morning we didn't really have very much rain, but those showers did start to push in thanks to that cold front that is moving through our area. And as rain starts to clear out, the rain chances for tonight are going to start to clear out, but there's still that chance of that pop-up shower. But for now, we're sitting relatively clear of rain. And this band of rain just illustrates the cold front that's going to be moving through our area. And we can better see that with the water vapor imagery. All this green is the moisture, and the orange behind me is the dry air. Now that boundary line is very sharp, which means it's a very sharp cold front, so our temperatures will be dropping. And all this moisture just affected our area today, but that's going to be clearing out, and it's going to be leaving us with a beautiful weekend. And then for our futurecast, again, this is a cold front that moved through our area tonight, and that's going to be leaving us with clear sunny skies. So for game day tomorrow, it's going to be a great, beautiful day. We're going to have cooler temperatures, and the cooler trend is going to continue into tomorrow, into Sunday as well. We're going to be seeing nice conditions. It's going to be sunny. So get out, show your parents around Tallahassee, take them to the sporting events, go maybe show them the FSU reservation. And then tomorrow, if you want to go on the water, there's going to be it's going to be a little gusty winds. It's not going to be anything too bad though. Seas are 1 to 3 feet, and there's going to be some calm waters. So maybe if you're not going to the football game, you can go out onto the water. And for tonight, we're going to be sitting at 65. It's going to be mostly cloudy, and there's still a 60% chance of rain, but that rain is going to be clearing out by midnight tonight. So there's still the chance of the pop-out shower. And tomorrow is game day. We are playing against Wake Forest, and the temperature around kickoff time is going to be 77. So it's going to be a very pleasant day. It's still going to be sunny though, so make sure you prepare yourself and protect yourself from the UV rays with the sunscreen and the hats. And throughout the game, our temperatures are going to be dropping to 72, so maybe a light jacket will be necessary for the end of the game, depending on if you like the cold or not. And again, once the cold front passes through, we're going to be seeing a beautiful weekend. We're going to be seeing the highs in the mid-70s and the lows in 65. And Sunday, even a low of 46. So if you like those morning temperatures, then get out and enjoy the morning. The rain will be picking back up next week. So Paxton, Christian, are you going to go to the game this weekend?
We sure are. And who else is all? I cannot speak today, but you know who else is going to the game?
Who?
My parents. Our parents going to the game.
My parents will not be coming, but they'll definitely be watching it from the TV. They'll be participating Parents Weekend from afar, but a lot of parents will be coming into campus this weekend as we look forward to the game against Wake Forest.
Wake Forest, yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully we still hang on to that #1 spot, which I'm pretty confident we will be, but you never know with us.
Oregon just lost #2.
Oh, that's great upset, but benefits us too.
Yes.
So, as you can see from our 7-day, that we do have the 70-degree temperatures this weekend, and you check out that low on Sunday, it's 46
wow, 46
degrees.
That's almost Starbucks weather.
It is everyday Starbucks weather, but you know what? And we could see the suns on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We haven't seen 0% chances of rain in quite some time.
Yeah. So remember on social media to like us on Facebook /FSU Weather.
You can also follow us on twitter.com/FSU Weather. And if you missed us, you can watch us again tonight at 11:30 or watch us anytime on live stream. So just go outside this weekend and enjoy the weather. It'll be a lot cooler for us out there today.
Yeah, have fun. Go Noles.
And have a great weekend.